Good morning, St. Francis, and good morning, people of God. It is Monday, June 6th, 2022. It is Monday of the 10th week of the year. We have concluded the Easter season yesterday with the solemnity of Pentecost, and now we descend from the heights of Easter as we do every year this week. And so we are moving into the 10th week of the year. It is also the 78th anniversary of D-Day, in case you're counting that. But even more importantly, although it is Monday of the 10th week of the year, we open ordinary time after Easter with now the celebration of the memorial of Mary, the Mother of the Church, and that is a new kind of celebration that Pope Francis instituted in 2018. And so every Monday that follows Pentecost, the Monday that follows Pentecost Sunday, is dedicated to Mary, Mother of the Church. And why? Well, because this was the title that Mary was given by the Second Vatican Council, which is in many ways Pope Francis's desire to have the whole Church, including its clergy, affirm the work of the Second Vatican Council, to understand its mission, its message, to know that as it stands as a council, it is the highest authority within the Church, and its decisions and its directions should be interpreted, understood, reflected upon, thought about, embraced, and engaged within our Church. And the one to lead us is the one who said yes to God, is the one basically who allowed God to be able to begin this great work of salvation and redemption that renews the face of the earth, that reconfigures human history, that gives us a different kind of destiny as human beings, because she said yes, and through Christ's death and resurrection, all this was allowed to happen. So to honor the Blessed Mother today, as we move from the heights of Easter into summer and then fall ordinary time, as we move to a conclusion of this liturgical year in November. So today, coming to you today from let's see, where is it? Yes, from the little, it's a little berm in front of Jacoba Hall, our cafeteria here at the Franciscan School, and then Thea Hall, which is behind it over there. So on this memorial of Mary, the Mother of the Church, there are special readings, and there are two that you can choose from. And the first reading, and the first reading, they could be no more divergent, no more different readings, perhaps, to look at than the two that are chosen, one from Genesis and then one from Acts of the Apostles. The one from Genesis is the discovery of having the fruit being eaten in that garden in Genesis 3. And it leads into then the punishments that will befall humanity because of because they ate fruit that they weren't supposed to eat. If that is chosen, it gives a very interesting kind of message of sort of damnation. But there is something always important within the passage that is selected. It's where God says to the man, again, he is not Adam yet. He does not get a name until chapter 4, so don't call him Adam yet. That God says to Adam, when he says that he is hiding, when Adam tells God he is hiding because he is naked, God says to him, who told you that you were naked? Who told you that being naked was bad? Who told you that you were created badly and you have to hide from me? Again, God asks that question out of confusion and out of wonder, not out of anger, not out of rage, not out of desire for destruction because somebody disobeyed God's law and ate an apple when they shouldn't have. God is saddened, by the fact that we don't often think enough of ourselves, or that we think horribly of God, that we have to hide from God. Mary shows us that we do not have to hide from God, and that there really is much more good in us than there are all that brokenness and all that pain and all that hurt that sometimes we just seem to want to focus on and can't stop focusing on. The other choice from Acts of the Apostles is what happens after Jesus' ascension, before Pentecost, and how the apostles gather together in the upper room and pray, and Mary is there praying with them. And again, awaiting something. So very different readings, if to choose for the first reading, and so care should be taken as to what would be best to proclaim. The gospel is from John, and it goes all the way back to the crucifixion of Jesus, in which the Apostle John is given Mary as his mother, and Mary is given John as her son. And then Jesus dies, and then the soldiers come to break his legs to hasten his death, not knowing that he's died already, but finding him dead, thrust the lance into his side, and blood and water pour out. This gospel, again, focuses on the fact that it is with the blood and water being poured out, Jesus' last breath, that the church is born. Not Pentecost. Pentecost is not the birthday of the church. The church had been born long before that. And so we have to always kind of remember that. So again, this sense, in which Mary standing at the foot of the cross, not in fear, perhaps, or remorse or lament. There is that there, but certainly not out of fear. But basically, just in a courageous stance against all that is wrong about humanity at times, because of our fear, because of our brokenness, because of our inability to see the truth, to see what is good, to see any kind of hope or any kind of wonder and glory in this world. And so we react, with pain and with anxiety, with hurt, with aggression, with violence, all those kinds of things like that. Mary stands in defiance at the cross, knowing that this is not the end, knowing that there is much more to humanity, knowing that there is much more to us as human beings that needs to be lived and embraced. And with that, again, sort of act of defiance of Mary, the church begins to be born. That Mary kind of comes to an understanding, however small, however meager, of what it is that we are called to be as believers in this world, and she begins to demonstrate that for us. That is what we are called, and always to continue to do in our lives, to stand in defiance against all those things that undo humanity, that make us less than who and what God has created us to be, to know always, that God is there to not just rescue us, but to journey with us through the ups and downs of life. That is what makes church. That's what makes believers. That's what gives witness to what it is that God needs us to give and allow it to give, so this world might find hope, that this world might find glory, this world might find peace. That is always our call. That is always our call. And so, St. Francis and people of God, may the Lord give you his peace.